You know that feeling when a place watches you? Not a person, not a camera, but the place itself. Breathing, waiting, listening. That's what I felt the first night in my dream house, and it never stopped. Because what I thought was my perfect escape became my living nightmare. My name's Rachel, and this is the story of the house I should have never stepped into. It started just like any fairy tale. I was fresh out of a toxic relationship, emotionally exhausted, and desperate to build something of my own. I scrolled Zillow listings like it was a dating app, looking for the one. And then I found it. A charming white Victorian house on the edge of a forgotten town called Greystone. The photos showed large bay windows, a winding staircase, antique fireplaces, even a clawfoot tub. It looked like something out of a horror movie. And I loved it. The price? Way too low. The listing said motivated seller, and me? I was too broke and too broken to question why. I moved in on a cloudy Tuesday. I remember the wind picking up as I carried the first box inside. It whispered through the trees like they were warning me. The agent said the house was full of character, but what she meant was it was full of shadows and secrets. The first night, I barely slept. It wasn't the creaks or groans. Old houses do that. It was the sense of being watched. I kept turning over in my sleeping bag, staring into the dark corners of the empty bedroom. At exactly 3:12 a.m., I heard it. A long, steady breath. It wasn't mine. It came from the wall right behind my head. I froze. My hand reached toward the wall, and I swear to you, it was warm. Not room temperature. Warm. Like skin. The next morning, I convinced myself it was just a dream. I painted, cleaned, tried to make it feel like home. But every time I turned my back, something felt off. A door slightly more open than before, a picture frame tilted. By the third night, the walls started to move. Not dramatically, not like the movies. Subtle. I'd hang a clock and find it an inch lower. I'd mark a spot with pencil, gone the next day. The wallpaper in the hallway bubbled, like something underneath was breathing. Then I started hearing scratching from inside the walls. I called pest control. They said there were no signs of rodents, no nests, no droppings. But the sounds grew louder. One night, I put my ear against the wall and I swear, I heard whispers. Faint. Female. Saying my name. Rachel. I stumbled back and slept in my car that night. But I couldn't stay away. The house felt like it had its own gravity, like it was pulling me in, like it wanted me there. That's when I found the door. It wasn't there before. Behind the coat closet, a small wooden door about 4 feet high, hidden behind a panel. I didn't even remember seeing a seam in the wall. It opened easily. No lock, just a whisper of air and cold, cold darkness. Inside was a narrow hallway, barely wide enough for my shoulders. The walls were soft, padded, covered in something that looked like old skin. The air smelled like rot and mold. I walked. 20 paces in, I saw photos on the walls. Old, faded photos of women. All different races, different ages, but every one of them had the same expression. Fear. Then I saw mine. My photo, taped to the wall. A photo I'd never taken. And I ran. But the hallway didn't end. It looped. Every turn brought me back to the same wall. My photo. My face. The look of horror getting worse each time. The walls pulsed. The air thickened. And then I heard the voice. You're a part of me now. I don't remember how I got out. I woke up in the bathtub with muddy feet and blood under my nails. No memory, just bruises on my arms and scratches on my neck. The hallway? Gone. I tried to leave, packed everything, drove to a hotel 2 towns over. But that night, I woke up in my own bed, in that house. The car was still parked in the driveway, like I'd never left. The house wouldn't let me go. Every night, the walls close in a little more. I feel them press against my skin when I sleep. Sometimes I don't wake up where I fell asleep. Sometimes I hear the house mimic my voice. "Good night," it whispers. But I'm not the one saying it. I don't know how much longer I can fight it. I'm losing time, losing pieces of myself. My reflection doesn't match me anymore. If you're hearing this, please, for the love of God, don't buy cheap houses in forgotten towns. If a wall ever feels warm, run. Because this house, it breathes. It waits, and it's always hungry.